I had a little idea to brighten up the patio or deck area outside my workshop, and I thought you might be interested. I'm going to use this plastic tub, which is a bit sort of dirty and dusty. It wants to go clean off, get rid of the spiders and what have you. But I don't want to just put this But I don't want to just use this plain, boring plastic. I want something that's a bit more interesting. So I thought what I'd make is a planter to put the tub in too, using some of these pieces of scrap pallet wood. And this is what I've got in mind. What I'm thinking is, I've cut an angle on the end of this at 15 degrees, and I'll show you an easy way of doing that. I want to have legs that come out on the sides, on both ends, sort of, so they'll be like that, that way around, sorry. They'll be like that. And then use these planks along the sides so that it hides the plastic and gives me something more aesthetically pleasing. Now then, I'm using an adjustable set square. Now this one, I don't expect you'll have something like this one, where you can literally dial in any angle that you particularly want. So for example, on this one, I actually had it the other way. It was on that side, that way around. So I can copy that angle. I can lock that off nice and firmly, and if we just double check that, yes, that is exactly 15 degrees. Well, what do you do if you haven't got an adjustable set square? Is there a simple solution to that little problem before we even make anything else? Well, the answer is yes, there is. Do you remember those from school? Protractors. You can use a protractor, and all you need is a scrap of wood. I'm going to actually use 2 scraps of wood, and I'm going to lay the protractor on one of the straight edges. In fact, that edge will do very nicely. And if you look at a protractor, you'll see that there's a line runs parallel along the bottom there. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to lay that on the edge, but before I do, I'm just going to put a little mark. It doesn't matter where, just anywhere on that board. And then I'm going to line everything up nice and clearly. And I'm going to mark, there's our 90. So 15 degrees, that would be 10, that would be 20. So 15 is there. And then I'm going to get my ruler. And I'm only using a plastic ruler, nothing special. From that edge to that mark. Now, if I saw to that line, I've then got a template, and what I will do is I will attach this to that edge, and it's a bit wider than the piece of wood, scrap wood I'm using, and that will give me a template that I can then hold against my boards and cut an accurate angle on every single one of them. So let's just go over to the my workmate, and we'll saw that first, because I'm not going to saw it on the bench. I don't think that's fair if you haven't got a vise and a bench and a table saw and all the rest of it. We're going to do this with hand tools. So I'm going to nip over to the workmate. Okay, so I've got my wood and I've got it marked. I'm just going to put it literally on the end of the workmate there, just so I can see the line clearly. Got my saw, and I'm just using a regular panel saw. Put my thumb against the side of the blade and just gently draw back just to get us started. There we go. and nice and gently at the end. And there we go. Now I've got my 15 degrees. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take that little strip of wood that I had. In fact, I'm going to put that in there just for a second, just to hold it. I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to just pin that strip onto there like so. So it ends up there like that. And then I can use that to get an accurate angle. Okay, so I've nailed that onto there like so. Don't need the ruler now. So we need to decide how long the legs are going to be, and I did work it out on a scrap piece, and they are 250 mil on the long edge. So 250 millimeters, which is about 9 3/4 inches approximately. And for the legs, we have to go the same direction. So whatever that angle is there, that's the same angle there. So we mark that along there, and then we can cut that line, and we've got our leg. Okay, what we can do, because we've got a workmate here, is we could open this out and we can actually put our wood in there and actually clamp it so it can't move. So if you have a workmate, do that. Again, put my thumb against there, draw back the saw to get it started, and it's being a bit, there we go, and just follow down the line. And remember, when you get to this point, you nail it at the end. And I'm letting the saw do that. I'm not pressing down. The saw's doing the work. Hold this piece. Nice and slowly, right at the end. And there we go. A nice clean cut. So I've just got to make another 3 of these, and then we can move on to the next stage. Okay, there's my 4 legs. Okay, so I've just laid out on the bench the 2 pieces that are going to form the legs, and the actual plastic tub's going to sit within this. So what I now need is 2 cross pieces for there and there. So if we measure that one, we're at 6.5 inches, which is 165 mil. And then we're going to need another one for lower down. I've pre-cut a couple just to show you what I'm looking at. So one would go there and one would go there, and I've got 2 little marks here to allow 30 mil between each plank. And that would be one end. That's ready for nailing up. But I've still got to cut 2 more. One more for each of these, because there's 2 pairs. Okay, I've got my 2 long pieces cut. I've got my 2 short pieces cut, and we've got our other set of legs. So let's get the leg sections made up, and I'm just using a little piece of wood there just to keep them in line so that everything lines up together. A bit of something stuck on the end there. Right, so we need that. That needs to come out that way a little bit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to nail one on first, get that one in the right place, and then we'll deal with the other one. We need some glue. Any brand will do, but it needs to be our exterior glue, and we need some small nails. So there we go, there's our small nails. So let's put a bit of glue on there. Oops. Ooh, this one hasn't. This is what happens. Oh, crikey, Bob. If you don't clean all the waste glue off. There we go. Put a line across there, line across there. That'll do. You don't have to go mad. Put that one onto there. Take our nails, hammer. Now these nails are 30mm nails, but my wood is a little bit thicker, so they're not going to go right through. But I am nailing this basically from the inside, or what will be the inside. And one there. Right, line that one, line that up. This piece will end up just about there. How's that looking? Yeah, it's looking good. Must have nailed into a knot there. There we go. That's one already done. Just make sure there's no glue squeeze out there. So we measure our. Double check that was 30mm. Yes, it was 30mm. So 30mm there, 30mm there. That's where our next piece of timber's got to go. There we go. Just going to put a couple of lines just so we can see what's what. Bit more glue. There we go. Onto that and onto that. There we go. So that's our two ends, and they'll go that way in. Now all we've got to do is look at how long do they need. If we put that there, put that there, put that one there, how long does the piece in between need to be? And we're just a little bit on the long side. So all I've got to do is just cut these to length now, and then we can get this assembled. Okay, there we go. We've got all our little end pieces as well now. So all we're going to do now is to nail these together, like so. Oops, move that out of the way. Nail those together like so, and then you'll see where we're going with it. So what I need to do now, that one's the wrong way around. It's actually that way around. Good job you noticed. Just double check that I'm right. Yes, I'm right. So let's get some glue on there. On there, along there. I'll need some along there and along there as well. I'll deal with that end in a second once I've got this one nailed on. Everything's all lined up. There we go. Right, turn it over. Same again on this side. And then we can check if everything fits together properly. There we go. There we go, like that. And our tub should, all is well, fit in there nice and snugly. It's a bit. Let's see how it looks with some plants in. There we go. Well, I think that's brightened that corner up quite nicely. I think, in fact, I'm going to sit here, enjoy a nice cup of tea, and until next time, I'm Dave. I'm the Skint woodworker. Thanks for joining me, and please remember to like, subscribe, and if you can, leave a comment. Speak to you next time. Bye now.